Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. Of course, this week we are riding this wave of that big lunar eclipse, Pisces full moon that happened on September 7th. As we get the week started, of course, we are very much still in that energy and it's probably going to be washing through the remainder of the week. However, we do have some additional things going on this week, aspects, transits, energetic themes coming up that we need to get into in our report for today. First of all, we have the Sun and Mercury traveling through the sign of Virgo, coming into a conjunction throughout the course of the week, and they are also aligning with the south node of the moon. I have a feeling that the past is somehow going to be coming into focus this week for one reason or another, and letting things go, release, moving on. I know I sound like a broken record when it comes to these themes, but literally it's just like every day, every aspect, everything that's going on is pounding on like the karmic mental detox process that we are going through right now, the patterns internally that are shifting, and the way that that is going to lead to some real fundamental systemic changes and transformations once we get through this process. But again, a week of the past being relevant in a way that has to do with release, endings, moving on from things. There's also a major energetic push to strengthen our faith right now, an enhanced level of like divine assistance, spiritual connectivity. We are going through a phase of kind of like collective spiritual growth right now also, and that could be another thing that is kind of reorienting the way that we are thinking about things as we move through this energy. And we've got some things to talk about, you guys. It should be sort of an interesting, maybe a bit revealing week. Let's get into our report of the day. Let's take a deeper look at all that we've got going on to get our week started and what perhaps we might be experiencing as we move through the beginning of our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, September 7th, 2025. September 8th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this video, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We have an interesting week of astrology going on. Of course, as I said in my intro, we are still very much in that full moon in Pisces lunar eclipse energy that just took place yesterday on the 7th. This is an energy that we're actually going to be in throughout the course of the next 2 weeks, at which point we will have our second very rare double new moon in Virgo that is happening this month, and that is also going to be a solar eclipse. That will be like part 2 of our current eclipse season that we're moving through right now. So we're in the eclipse energy, you guys. We're still in the full moon in Pisces energy. The moon is still in the sign of Pisces for a good part of the day on Monday. Now, I do think this is going to probably equate to a bit of a slow start to the week, and we'll talk about all the specificities in alignment with that in a couple minutes. But in terms of like 3 primary themes that just could be present in various ways throughout the course of the week, I would say letting something go, changing some type of pattern, or actively healing or learning something. Now, I'm saying these things not only because we're in that eclipse full moon in Pisces energy, which really had a lot to do with these same things, but also because this week is the week where we have some very personal planets aligning with the south node in Virgo. Of course, the reason why we just had an eclipse was because the full moon aligned in a conjunction with the nodes of the moon. That's what gives us our eclipse seasons each year. Whenever we have a full moon, which is where the sun and the moon exactly oppose each other, or a new moon, which is where the sun and the moon exactly align in a conjunction or in opposition to the nodes of the moon, that is what gives us our eclipse season. That is what tells us what signs the eclipses are going to be in. Right now we have the north node transiting through the sign of Pisces. That is about some type of spiritual growth. It may be unconscious, it may be hidden, but it is making us more aware of the higher spiritual nature of things on some level. And I do feel like any 1.5 year long transit, because it's 18 months that the nodes are in any particular sign of polarity, when the North Node is in the sign of Pisces, spiritual growth is somehow going to be a lesson or an outcome associated with that transit. And that full moon in Pisces may have had something to do with that as well. And it's also interesting, and I'll talk about this more in the report also, but another theme for the week and, you know, last week and our full moon lunar eclipse, if you caught that video, I talked about this, but Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wisdom, truth, blessings, good fortune, good luck, growth, is in a very, very tight trine. That's like a free flow, cosmic support, facilitating energy with the North Node right now, which is further indicating the really powerful window that we're in right now for gaining some type of spiritual growth, spiritual expansion, spiritual truth, like higher knowing, all over things right now. So maybe I should start the report by saying that, and this has been a theme and it's going to continue to be a theme this week, but you know, with that South Node activity going on, like that's karma, that's karmic release, that's endings. It can like suppress and lower just the way, the vibe generally, okay? And if things are a little bit difficult or overcomplicated or overwhelming this week, or just kind of feel like they're coming apart or some type of struggle, we have like a strong energetic insinuation presented through the Jupiter North Node trine right now that is speaking to really like leaning into that faith, like surrendering that which we can't control to a higher power with the faith and the trust that things truly are opening up and moving us in a better direction, even if the appearance of things may actually be quite contradictory to that in the moment. And I will tell you, that is a potential way that this energy could kind of be making itself collectively known as well. Like a lot of people may be much more focused on what's not working, you know, like the glass half empty, this more pessimistic, narrow-minded mental attitude, you know, focusing on what's wrong, focusing on all the reasons why something can't happen, the impossibilities, the failures, the imperfections. That could definitely be a thing this week with Mercury and the Sun in the sign of Virgo, which can already be a critical energy, and with that South Node, because the South Node suppresses things and like it condenses things, and it has to do with endings and loss and what we're moving away from. So if you find yourself in a mental state where it just seems like everything's wrong and nothing's right and everything's failing and nothing's working, literally Jupiter trying the North Node, like this is when we just need to kind of say like, that might be accurate in this moment, but that doesn't necessarily define the future. And I am choosing to trust the process that is underway, have faith that things really are somehow going to come together in a way that is supportive of my growth, and also really actually spending some time cultivating that like spiritual connection somehow, prayer, meditation. I mean, Jupiter's in the sign of Cancer right now, you guys, like comfort, support, nurturing, trining the North Node in Pisces really can come through our faith, divine guidance, spiritual support, like that type of thing is where we want to take it if everything else just feels unmanageable for some reason this week. So, that being said, in energy like this with Mercury and the Sun moving through the sign of Virgo, which is already this very mercurial sign, like it's all about what we're analyzing, what we're thinking, like the conclusions that we're coming to, the facts, the data, the context, the details, the information, the plans, the itineraries, the schedules, the input that is generating some type of output. And with the South Node there, this is, again, like I just got done saying, this is the past. This is what is ending. This is what we are releasing, what has run its course, what we are like no longer engaging with for one reason or another. So with Mercury, the messenger planet, and the sun there, both of them are going to conjoin the South Node. The sun will do it first, then Mercury will do it, and then Mercury and the sun will come to their exact alignment together, the Mercury Cazimi. That's going to be on the 13th, and it's also going to be in a conjunction to the South Node. So somehow it seems like the past, or what has been done, or the pattern that has been operating, or like the systems that have been running or something like that, being highlighted, maybe in the context also of what has not been working, what we're not going to keep doing or thinking anymore. Letting go of old thought patterns, I would say, is definitely the primary theme here. Again, this is reminding me very much of a mental karmic detox. This could also be a week of feeling, as I was kind of touching on earlier, just like maybe weaker than we normally do, or kind of like out of it or drained, lower mental energy levels specifically. It might be like harder to focus on things, empty, like you've just got nothing left in the tank. Maybe even like people are more likely, I think, to catch colds and just be like maybe feeling generally a bit unwell right now. This week could definitely kind of feature a stronger desire to get more sleep, to disengage, to disassociate from reality altogether. Maybe not a super social energy, especially as we're getting our week started. Not very like extroverted, I don't think, and like really wanting to be out and about. A lot of people probably wanting to kind of like hunker down and process things, learning things and thinking about or focused on, again, maybe like the past, like information being revealed or released or exposed, or like seeing things in a new light somehow, and making changes, making corrections, making adjustments. Life could feel as though it is testing us a bit, to be completely honest with you, especially maybe on Monday. We also are going to have the moon in Pisces conjoining Saturn at the very last degree of the zodiac, retrograde on Monday, and that could be bringing some like tests of faith and kind of maybe having us feel like we have reached the limit, maybe like emotionally especially as well. Again, things could feel quite out of control. But overall, I think this is going to be a week of processing information, recovering from something, maybe healing from something, or healing something generally, change, and letting go of the past. And the past is going to be a highlight for one reason or another this week. Maybe what we're figuring out or finally coming to understand. Learning, healing, letting go. Also a week, as I mentioned, this Jupiterian situation going on, divine surrender, spiritual growth, cultivating your connection to a higher power, trust that you are being guided in the right direction. That is literally part of the lesson plan that's going on right now when we've got Jupiter in that trine to the North Node, all of this eclipse energy, all of this South Node energy, spiritual growth, expanding our faith, letting go of that which we can't control, with the knowing that things are somehow righting themselves. Let's get more into the details now about Monday and Tuesday specifically. That's kind of like my general perception of the basic vibe throughout the course of the week. And there could definitely also be an emphasis on specific details, of course, with all of this Mercury, Sun, Virgo, South Node energy. All week we do have this conjunction going on. Mercury is chasing the sun throughout the course of the week, finally catches him on Sunday. So this is putting the past or an end in the highlight, taking center stage, and also maybe like the little details about what we are learning or understanding or coming to realize being somehow very significant in terms of especially like what we're thinking about, the ideas that we're having, the nature and topic of conversations generally. Monday, we do to still start the week, as I mentioned, with the moon transiting the sign of Pisces. We are coming out of this full moon in Pisces energy right now, and then as we near the midpoint of the day Eastern time, Saturn retrograde and the moon are going to align as the moon reaches that 29th very last degree of the zodiac before entering the sign of Aries, coming into a conjunction with Neptune, and then beginning to activate that Mars-Jupiter square that we've got going on in cardinal signs right now, which we're going to be talking about today as well. So with the moon in Pisces, which is already like more laid back, very chill, like dreamy, kind of like disconnected from reality type of energy, coming into a conjunction with Saturn retrograde at that very last degree of the sign of Pisces, and then coming to the conjunction with Neptune at the first degree of Aries. While the sun is conjunct the south node, this does seem to me like a day or an energy or an entrance into a week where people are probably not going to be all that enthusiastic about getting up and going to work. I think people moving and thinking pretty slowly to get the day started is probably going to be a bit unavoidable. Not all that awake, not all that coherent, not all that like plugged in or tuned in to the reality, not all that capable either of like any type of real self-discipline to get ourselves there. It's a good morning to sleep in if you can, you guys. And I know it's a Monday morning, so that's probably not going to be possible for the majority of us. But if you can, you get yourself some extra rest on Monday morning. This is a harder energy in which to accomplish tasks, to really just kind of get anything done. And procrastination, I do imagine, is going to be a common vibe or just the way that people are kind of going about life on Monday. Also, this is an energy that is indicating like quitting, retiring, stepping down, not showing up for something, being like missing in action, not participating, especially maybe like authority figures or teachers, employees, service workers, or people who communicate information for one reason or another. They could literally just like not be there, missing in action, not present for some reason. This could also indicate some type of announcement or memo about someone quitting, retiring, being replaced, being let go. That is just like what comes across your desk maybe first thing on Monday. Or for some reason, it could just be this inability to do the routine or to follow the schedule or to be on time. This is a Monday, you guys, where I would definitely anticipate people to be running late for things, especially like appointments or meetings or presentations or calls. Lots of people are going to be tardy. A lot of people are just not going to be on time, moving slow. So be mindful of that. Maybe, give yourself a little extra time to do what you need to do in the morning. And if you've got clients or anything like that, I would just maybe be prepared for them to be running a few minutes late. This could also, as I kind of touched on earlier as well, like be a little bit of a low vibe, quote unquote, or kind of depressing feeling energy to get the week started. That Mercury Sun conjunction in the sign of Virgo with the South Node, like Mercury in the sun together in Virgo, like this can already be like kind of like a high stress, high anxiety, like perfectionistic, like everything needs to be right or else I'm a total failure, like judgmental, critical type of energy. And then when we put the South Node there as well, it's just like will I ever be able to do it? Like, will I perpetually be a failure? Like, what do I need to do to finally win? You know what I mean? Like, mental energies could just be kind of low. Like, we could be just very kind of narrowly focused on all of our flaws, all of our failures, all the reasons why we can't do it and we're the worst, and just like very self-critical, or also maybe like critical of others or critical of everything, or other people may not be like following the rules or doing what we need to do or what they said they would or what they signed up to. And it could also just kind of make us generally feel weaker or more vulnerable or just kind of like low in a way that maybe we don't typically experience. Pessimism, criticism, judgment, not feeling good enough, as I said, not feeling perfect enough, not feeling smart enough, like our work isn't paying off, like we are lacking results, like also the experience of feeling like we are just not getting any type of return on our investment for one reason or another. This can also bring in financial worries and financial concerns. So there could be some of that going on out there on Monday. And then also with that moon in Pisces in the conjunction to Saturn at the end of the very last degree of the zodiac, and then in the conjunction to Neptune at the very first degree of the zodiac, and especially considering we are also in this eclipse energy, it's like, no, I don't want to continue to play the game. Like, can I please just escape from the madness? These issues never seem to go away. I don't want to show up. I don't want to do the job. I don't want to like do the thing. This could definitely be bringing on feelings of depression or overwhelm, wanting to self-isolate, feeling like we just maybe are at the end of the rope, can't do it anymore, and I don't know, with the Mars-Jupiter square that we're going to get into in a minute as well, I feel like a lot of people may just be deciding to throw in the towel about some things impulsively this week. And I also want to say, like, make sure you really think through choices. Like, if you are thinking about stepping away from something, of course there's never been a time to change your lifestyle and, you know, reorient yourself in terms of what you're doing on the day-to-day and what you're putting in and what you're getting out as a result. But with that Mars-Jupiter square, we want to be careful with the risk taking, okay? We want to be careful with being overly impulsive. There can be major gains. You know, a lot of this stuff is likely to be, as I said, like for the best, but wise actions are rewarded here, and like sloppy, overly impulsive, or like ego-based, unthought out, just like reckless blast-offs may not have the best outcomes, okay? So we do have some energy therefore on Monday that can have the tendency to just like suppress things or bring us down maybe a little bit, you know, skewing the glass a bit half empty. Jupiter trying the North Node though, as I said in the beginning, maintaining your faith, maintaining your trust, surrendering to the process. This is where the growth comes from. Like, this is the lesson that is to be learned. This is the wisdom that is to be gained. This is where the blessings are in an energetic blueprint such as this. And I mean, Mercury and the Sun together with the South Node, that is what we need to change. There is something about our thought patterns. There is something about our systems that we have in place. There is something about the way that we are just like living our lives and doing our day to day, that if we alter or if we edit or if we are able to upgrade or to make more efficient or to make more sense somehow, Jupiter trying the North Node, like blessings are to come, expansion and growth are to come. Like, this is the gift. Whatever change we're making, like, there's likely to be a big payoff, even if it's a really difficult change. So having Jupiter there does like reinforce and support, I think, the our ability to trust that, you know, making whatever changes we're making right now are going to help us head in a more positive direction, or at least lead to some true process of growth or expansion somehow. Another angle of this energy could be with the Mercury Sun South Node conjunction, could be the spread of information related to the exposure or the downfall of something. This is like things being revealed, things coming out, rumors, gossip, people being like canceled or fired or let go as a result, past details, information, context, messages maybe that are being released. You know, I keep saying that the South Node is about things being released, while Virgo is about information and messaging. Mercury is the messenger planet. There could be some news or some information or some I don't know what it is, but something of an informational nature, messages of some kind that are released somehow in energy such as this, that does lead to some type of ending, or that does expose something somehow. Remember, all week, the energy that we are building into is the Mercury cazimi, the exact alignment between Mercury and the sun that is coming on Sunday. And that is when we are said to gain a moment of clarity, light bulb moment, insight into something. So things may be working to make their way to the surface this week that culminate in some type of revelation come the energy of this weekend, specifically Sunday. But especially in the meantime, actually, an element of all of this, or of the information that could be coming across our desk or coming into our inbox, it could feel confusing or unbelievable, maybe very hard to know what to trust or what to put our faith in or what to believe with this Virgo Pisces energy going on, the South Node kind of like skewing the reality of things, and also the Saturn and Neptune together with the moon on Monday kind of skewing our perception and our ability to truly discern what is real and what is not. So that could be something that's going on as well. This could also be the feeling maybe of just being caught up in a bit of like a vision or a fantasy or an ideal, or your imagination just like being very powerful, or holding your focus for some reason in a way that may make you feel a bit disassociated or disconnected, or hard to like stay tuned into the actual reality. That could also be a way that this energy comes through on Monday. Now, later in the day, more towards the evening, Eastern time on Monday, the moon will have finally moved beyond Neptune and Aries. This should lift the fog. We should start feeling more energized, start feeling more motivated, more willing to participate kind of in life as the day goes on. And this is going to also activate that dynamic that we've got, that aspect with Mars squaring Jupiter. Jupiter's in the sign of Cancer right now, which is ruled by the moon. The moon is in the sign of Aries right now, which is ruled by Mars. So we've got lunar energy aligned with the Mars energy, and we've also got Jupiter in Cancer. That's that lunar energy in the square to Mars in Libra, but the Mars energy. So that Aries moon, once it gets beyond the grasp of that Neptunian haze, is probably going to invigorate us, I guess we could say, stimulate us, maybe just like make us feel a bit more energized as we move more towards the evening and into the night and the day on Tuesday. But this infusion of energy could kind of have the effect of creating some type of an attempt to maybe like self-soothe or do something, take some kind of action to help us maybe feel better about something for some reason, and actively seeking out maybe like inner peace, inner balance, some type of comfort or security with Jupiter Cancer squaring Mars and Libra, while we have the moon now transiting the sign of Aries. This could, though, of course, indicate conflict or anger. That is something that we're kind of dealing with internally, maybe especially in regards to home or family, relationship or financial situations or dynamics. Aggressive emotional reactions could also come with this. Or this could be like the motivation to smooth something over, or to create peace or harmony or balance somehow. Maybe something to do also with like business or finances, legal situations, deals, agreements, partnerships, negotiations, mediation, some artistic or creative project or pursuit, and of course like home, family situations like that. And as I've told you guys, in the midst of however this could be playing out, for sure our guidance on Monday is to cultivate your spiritual practice and not get pulled into the feelings of failure or personal weakness or hopelessness that could be coming as a result of that Mercury Sun South Node conjunction in the sign of Virgo. So that's basically what I have to say for Monday. Now on Tuesday, there could be a strange sort of like push and pull energy that's kind of going on within us as we like actively want to grow and want to expand and want to move forward with something, to have an increase or to experience like more or like something greater somehow. We want the growth, we want the progress. But again, it's like, I've done all of this and like, where are the results? Where is the growth? Or maybe it's kind of like, how exactly do I do it to make it bigger or to make it better? Or how do I do it maybe without making some of the same mistakes that I keep repeating or that I've made every time or in the past? Or like, how do I turn something that isn't working into something that is working? Like, what can I do to turn this thing around? Or maybe feeling like the people that are supposed to be getting something done for us like won't get on the same page, won't cooperate, won't collaborate properly, can't work together properly to execute that plan or to get that thing moving or to, you know, do what needs to be done. Things could feel like they are just like splitting and coming apart at the seams despite our best efforts. And again, with the moon in the square to Jupiter from the sign of Aries, coming into an opposition with Mars. We've got the Sun and Mercury with the South Node in Virgo. People on Tuesday also may just be saying F it and impulsively just like quitting or walking away from something, or maybe spontaneously being at the point of just being like, okay, I surrender, I give up. Like, people may be actually willing to take an L on one thing or another that they just don't want to continue to like have to deal with anymore, ceasing to be involved with something or someone, not wanting to keep doing the thing, needing to disrupt some type of pattern for some reason that is just not getting them the results that they like want at this point. And also this seeming like refusing to settle for less when we've got the Aries moon squaring Jupiter in Cancer, moving into that opposition with Mars and square to Jupiter as well. So again, like, I would expect some type of shuffling of people or things or situations, but most definitely like habits, patterns, schedules, and routines also taking place on Tuesday. This could also be about making corrections though, or edits or alterations to plans, lists, schedules, systems, the way that things are done, changing the input to get bigger or better results, to get more in alignment with that path or trajectory of growth that we really do want to create with this Mars Jupiter square right now. Lots of people trying to figure out like what it is that is limiting or blocking the growth or the peace or the balance or the harmony, and how to alleviate that, how to heal that, change that, fix that, remedy, remove, release, whatever it is. And that could really be quite central to what we are having maybe a light bulb moment about when we get this Mercury Sun cazimi that comes through on Sunday. So maybe a bit of like a quote unquote more low vibe or like bad attitude or kind of like self-doubt oriented start to the week, but it is also very correction focused. These changes and corrections will help make things make more sense and will help us to get better results in the long run. Change the input, change the output. To me, a central core theme of this eclipse that we're coming out of right now, the South Node's transit through the sign of Virgo itself, and of course this week with both the Sun and Mercury aligning to the South Node. Also, spiritual growth and the cultivation of faith, learning to work with the divine to improve our circumstances, cosmic lesson. Also, learning to manifest our dreams and our visions into reality, which Jupiter trine the North Node is also trying to teach us right now. North Node is currently at 19 degrees of Pisces. That is a master instructing his disciple. Chiron is also going to be a relevant energy this week. Mars is right now in the sign of Libra, building into an opposition with Chiron and Aries. That Sabian symbol 27 Aries, where Chiron is through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. So we need to, talking about changing our thought patterns, we need to focus less on like what has been, who we've been and more on who we are in the process of becoming and what is possible on the other side of that change and transformational process. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, about the astrology. That is how I think that this energy may be interacting with us over the course of this next couple of days. We now have a tarot reading to get into. It's a real interesting tarot reading today too, I will say, as we are getting started. Now, on the back of the deck, I have the King of Cups in reverse and the Three of Cups in reverse as well. Now, like some people could be, again, and I was saying this about the full moon as well, if you guys watched that video, people could be having a real hard time regulating their emotions this week, especially maybe in the context of like friend groups or social situations or like get-togethers and stuff. There could be some like outpourings maybe of emotions or some hyper emotional reactivity or responses going on that kind of like upset the, or like create a discord maybe, or just like a sense of, I don't know, like interpersonal conflict or something within normally like cohesive groups. There could be like somebody's overblown like emotional response to something that is upsetting like the good time or the good natured vibe within a group of people going on. But this could also be, I think, just like emotions generally being a bit out of control, and the Three of Cups, like nobody necessarily really being able to hold it together. So basically, I think that on an emotional level, maybe a bit of an interpersonal level, things could get a little bit messy, or just maybe be a little bit messy throughout the course of the week or to get the week started. Now, in terms of the actual other cards that we have coming through, the Nine of Cups came out by itself, just like staring at me. Again, Jupiter trining the North Node. I think it's really important this week, despite what the reality may be reflecting on to us, to keep our mind's eye focused on the goal, to keep our like inner vision attuned to what it really is that we want to grow, what we want to create, wish fulfillment, dreams, hopes, ideals, and to the greatest extent of our ability, try to emotionally align with the feeling of having received that, or being in that place, or being granted that experience, or whatever it is, you know, considering we do have a bit of like a dreamy, like hard to focus, disconnected from reality energy going on, especially on Monday. And really that is a major vibe of this Pisces full moon lunar eclipse as well. We want to make sure that if our mind is wandering and if we are daydreaming more than being present in the moment, that those daydreams are about things that we want, about what we want to grow into, about what we want to create, about what we want to become. Not about what we don't want or what we're afraid of or what is like making us unhappy, okay? So if you can, try to keep what it is that you are like really seeking right now in the forefront of your mind's eye or your inner vision, if you find yourself in a place where that is kind of consuming your consciousness. Now, in terms of the other cards that we have going on and that we need to talk about in this reading today, we have the Moon with the Six of Wands, and we also have the Five of Cups with the Judgment card. So the Moon and the Six of Wands, that is like gaining some type of victory over something that was hidden, or something that was unknown, or something that was mysterious, or something that was unconscious. And then when we're talking about the Judgment card with the Five of Cups, this is also choosing to walk away from something even if it's painful, because we know at the end of the day that it has to be that way, that is what is ultimately beneficial, that like that is what is required in order to like come back to life on some level. This is like having the wisdom to make a difficult choice, even if it's painful, because we know that it's truly the right thing, which is the Mars Jupiter dynamic as well. Mars in the sign of Libra, Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. I mean, with the moon transiting Aries on Tuesday also, that really could be a thing that's coming up, like these interpersonal dynamics or conflicts happening within the home or family, issues between people, fairness, balance, reciprocity. Is this truly what I love? Is this truly what I value? And knowing maybe that something has come to the end, something has run its course, it's no longer authentically aligned. A victory over the darkness. And making difficult choices because they're the right choice. Taking like the hard road, not the easy road, but the hard road being the one that is actually what translates into like something that is so much more valuable and such a greater victory. So a victory over something that has been in the dark, coming to light in a way that helps us to like be on top somehow, or to have more confidence, or to feel like we can move forward or move ahead or win. And then the Judgment card and the Five of Cups, like doing the right thing because it's the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. And then with the King of Cups in reverse, again, that could also be someone stepping down, someone retiring, someone losing power, losing authority, losing control. And their emotional responses to things may have something to do with it. But that is what I'm seeing, you guys, in terms of the way that this tarot message is speaking to me. It might be speaking differently to you, but in terms of also the astrology, like that's kind of how I'm connecting these dots right now. Now we are going to get one final piece of guidance or advice. I am asking for a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe, what do we need to know? What should we keep in mind? We've got a card. Oh my gosh, you guys, look. Right on the heels of that tarot card, look at what our synchronicity card says. It says success and victory with the Six of Wands. But Jupiter is trining the North Node right now. That is some type, again, North Node is the destiny point. This is like fate, okay? Jupiter is success, growth, expansion, blessings, gifts, truth, wisdom, honor. Like whatever is, like there is, I mean, there's a give and take here. We're talking about an eclipse. We're talking about a full moon, South Node, North Node. There has to be a give and take, but it seems as though whatever we are able to conquer, to release, to move on from in this energy is directly leading to some type of success or victory. The desire of the righteous, that would be Jupiter, shall be granted. If you wish to lead a good life, you must have good thoughts. You are on your way. God is working for you. You can be assured of success and victory. So, Nine of Cups, you guys. In a nutshell, everything that this Jupiter North Node trine right now is orienting us towards and speaking to, like being available in the energy field for us to make use of as we move through this specific window period of time. So that is all for me today, you guys. That's what I have to say. Message from the cards, message from the stars. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with your friends if you think that they would also like to narrate the shift of the ages with us. Leave me comments, you guys. Let me know what's going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that line up with or reflect what I'm talking about in these videos, drop me a comment, tell me about it, let me know. That is very valuable information to me. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you so much. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards linked in my description box below. You can go down there, find that link, click it, and it will take you to that group. That's where you'll find the full pictures of the boards. Other than that, you guys, come back with me on Wednesday We've got more energy to get into as we move through this very south node centered week. We've got a Sun South Node conjunction, again, a Mercury South Node conjunction, and more lunar activity to talk about, you guys, and I will be back to talk about it. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful introduction to your week, everybody, and until then, bye.